I'm in love with this man, and I will love him all of my life. And I mean, I wake up and thank God that I was blessed enough to find this kind of love. And people look for it all the time, and it's the most important thing, and it means everything.
What she said, absolutely. I mean, look at her. No, you know what? She's a wonderful, wonderful person, and every time I see her with...
Don't you start. We've been balling all night here.
Every time I see her with my little girls, it's nothing better.
When two of the biggest country stars joined forces, the world was waiting to see what they would achieve. Tim McGraw and Faith Hill have dominated the country charts for years and continue to show their fans that they have more to give. A love story that started on stage and has now spanned decades. This country-loving couple have music to thank for bringing them together, and they continue to wow audiences with their romantic onstage duets and loving displays. With one of the strongest bonds in the music industry and a relationship that continues to blossom, Tim McGraw and Faith Hill are some of country music's royalty.
You know, we're partners in every way, and you know, Faith and I, this will be 26 years we've been married this year. So we completely lean on each other and trust each other completely. Everything good in my life, including meeting my wife, everything good in my life has come from country music. And that's why I'm talking to you here today. That's why I had the opportunity to do the movies I've done, the opportunity to meet my wife, the opportunity to do the show and do it with my wife, all came from country music.
When Tim McGraw debuted in the early 90s, nobody would have predicted that he would eventually take over Garth Brooks' position as the most popular male singer in country music. Yet, that's exactly what he did, thanks to a string of multi-platinum albums and a high-profile marriage to fellow superstar Faith Hill. Tim McGraw's sound epitomized the strain of commercial country that dominated his era. Updated honky-tonk and southern fried country rock on the up-tempo tunes, well-polished adult contemporary tinged pop on the ballads. Helped out early in his career by several novelty items, McGraw wound up cranking out popular hits on a more consistent basis than any of his peers. By the late 90s, he was not only a superstar among country fans, but also a mainstream celebrity with a fan base of millions.
I feel free artistically. I feel like there's a whole new chapter that I'm starting to uncover in my career and the things that I do and the records that I make. I just really feel like that it's time for me to look forward. It's time for me to just sort of step on the gas.
Samuel Timothy McGraw was born in Delhi, Louisiana on May 1, 1967, as the only child of Betty D'Agostino, a waitress, and Tug McGraw Jr., a star pitcher for the New York Mets and Philadelphia Phillies. McGraw is of Italian descent on his mother's side and English and French on his father's side. Raised by his mother in Start, east of Monroe, McGraw grew up believing his stepfather, Horace Smith, was his father. From the time of his mother's marriage until the time he met his biological father, his last name was Smith. At age 11, McGraw discovered his birth certificate while searching his mother's closet to look for Christmas presents. After his discovery, his mother took Tim to meet Tug McGraw for the first time.
Tim McGraw's stepdad married his mom when Tim was only 7 months old, and he was always led to believe that that was his, in fact, biological father. Tim confronted his mother with this information, and she confessed, yes, in fact, she'd had a fling with this baseball player when he was living in an apartment upstairs in Jacksonville, Florida, and he didn't want anything to do with the baby, so she moved on, remarried, and raised him that way. What's extraordinary is the fact that, first of all, Tim actually had a baseball card of Tug McGraw on his wall at the time, not knowing that that was his dad. But also, Tim happened to be extremely good at baseball himself.
He used to play baseball quite a bit, so you're really interested that those genes were playing such an important part. But then he ended up going into music, and he's given us quite a lot of good stuff, so I think a good decision there.
At that time, he'd already remarried, had a new family, and didn't want to acknowledge his illegitimate son. And he really was a bit heartless about the whole thing.
Tug McGraw wouldn't admit that he was the dad. He denied it. And it was only as Tim started to look more and more like him that actually it couldn't be denied anymore. But actually, things ended really well. They got on really, really well. They became really close. And what could have ended up being a relationship that didn't exist turned into something really nice.
The impact of Tim McGraw growing up and finding out that his dad was not his dad, the impact of that on Tim McGraw was massive. Had a lot to do with shaping the man that he would become. He had and still has a great relationship with his stepfather. He considers him his dad. And in fact, a lot of Tim's early interest in country music can be traced to his stepfather because he was a truck driver. So Tim was often in the truck listening to country music. George Strait, for example, he heard over and over. And he heard those songs very much as part of his childhood. They very much affected him and increased his interest, and potentially one of the main reasons he ended up becoming a country singer himself. So both his biological dad and his father he grew up with had a great influence on Tim McGraw. But I also think that for an 11-year-old to find out that his dad is not really his dad would have been a very traumatic, painful situation. And I think some of that you can hear later on in the lyrics of some of Tim's songs.
Tim was 18 years old when Tug first realized how much Tim looked like him at that age, and he acknowledged paternity. They remained close until Tug died in 2004. As a child, McGraw loved to play competitive sports, including baseball, even though he did not know his biological father was a professional athlete. He was also a member of the FFA. He attended Northeast Louisiana University on a baseball scholarship. During his college years, he learned to play the guitar and would frequently perform and sing for tips, although he claims his roommates often hid the guitar because he was so wrong. Tim McGraw came to the attention of Curb Records in 1990. After cutting a demo single, McGraw gave a copy to his father. A man who was friends with Curb Records executives heard the demo while driving with Tug one day and recommended that Curb contact the young singer. Several weeks later, he was able to play his tape for Curb executives, after which they signed him to a recording contract. McGraw's first single, What Room Was the Holiday In?, did not enter the Billboard Hot Country Songs charts upon its release. In a 2001 retrospective on McGraw's career in Billboard, a former program director for Nashville station WSM-FM said that he added the song to the station's playlist because it showed undeniable promise.
Anybody that wants to be a country singer has to come through Nashville. You don't have to always live in Nashville once you've become a successful country singer, but it's almost impossible to do it without living here at some point.
I get asked all the time by aspiring artists, should I move to Nashville? And some people, well, George Strait never moved to Nashville, you know. It can happen and does happen outside of Nashville. But my personal philosophy is if you want to hunt tigers, you go to the jungle. And this is the jungle. And I think in particular, that's true if you're a writer. Because if you want to learn the craft of country songwriting, this is the school right here. This is the university. This is the graduate level learning program.
As far as what Nashville does for an artist, you know, Nashville is where the talent is centralized. You've got more, especially if you're into country, you've got more songwriters here than you've got anywhere else. The record labels are here, the producers are here, the other singers are here, the whole industry is here. And so if you want to start meeting the people that you need to know to put together a successful team to make you the kind of star that you want to be, you got to be in Nashville.
His second album, Not a Moment Too Soon, was much more successful, becoming the best-selling country album in 1994. The first single, Indian Outlaw, caused considerable controversy as critics argued that it presented Native Americans in a patronizing way.
Tim McGraw burst on the scene. It really was with the song Indian Outlaw. That was when people started to really kind of sit up and take notice of him. If you look at the video, you know, he has a lot of sass as he stands there draped in black, singing this song. He has a lot of confidence. He looks very cocky. And I think that's one of the things that fans responded to is, even though he really wasn't a big star at this point, he acts like one. Despite the dodgy mustache and the mullet, he still manages to eke out some sex appeal.
So the video's in this country club, and there's different pieces of Indian Cherokee outlaw memorabilia and things stuck around, and they're doing this odd kind of line dance thing almost in there as well. And he's singing "I'm an Indian outlaw," and he doesn't really look like an Indian outlaw that much. It's just a bit strange.
I'm an Indian outlaw, half Cherokee and Choctaw. My baby, she's a Chippewa, she's a one of a kind. All my friends call me Bear Claw.
Once the song started to get a lot of mainstream play, Native American groups, of course, kind of came down on it and said the song is ultimately a little bit patronizing. However, country music fans loved it. In fact, Tim used Indian Outlaw at the end of all of his concert tours to close the show. I think what people like about that song is that it has a catchy beat, it has a sassy rhythm to it, and I think Tim really has the confidence to pull it off.
Some radio stations refused to play it, but the discussion helped spur sales, and the song became McGraw's first top 10 country single, reaching number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100.
You listen for songs, you try to find songs that fit an idea that you have for the project, and from beginning to end, and you want hits, but you also want songs that are just good songs. You know, they don't necessarily have to be radio-friendly songs, I guess, but and mainly what I do is try to find things that I like as a fan, and kind of make the records that I hear in my head are the records I'd like to hear. And not whether it's right or wrong, it's just what I like, and hopefully a lot of people agree with me.
The second single from the album, Don't Take the Girl, became McGraw's first #1 country hit, in addition to reaching number 17 on the Hot 100, and helped cement his image as a ruggedly good-looking guy with a sensitive side.
Take Tommy Thompson, take my best friend Bo, take anybody that you want, as long as she don't go. Take any boy in the world. Daddy, please don't take the girl.
By year's end, Down on the Farm had peaked at number 2 on the country charts. After it, the album's title track became his second #1 single in early 1995, and Refried Dreams reached number 5 afterwards. The album sold over 6 million copies, topping the Billboard 200 and the country album charts. On the strength of his success, McGraw won Academy of Country Music Awards for Album of the Year and Top New Male Vocalist in 1994.
#1, you're nominated for what tonight? In the Country Music Male Award, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm more nervous about getting up and performing tonight than I am about the award part of it. But,
what are you going to be singing tonight?
We're going to sing our brand new single, All I Want. It's the title track of the album.
And what is it? What do you hear from your fans? I mean, are they big on this award ceremony, this blockbuster?
You know, I think so. I think the Blockbuster Awards is becoming one of the largest awards around and one of the most prestigious. So it's fun to be here.
Okay.
Good talking.
Thank you very much.
Billboard named Not a Moment Too Soon the top country album of 1994. Tim McGraw's third studio album, All I Want, released in 1995, also debuted at #1 on the country charts. The album sold over 2 million copies and reached the top 5 on the Billboard 200. I Like It, I Love It reached #1 on the country charts as the lead-off single, crossing over to the Hot 100 at number 25.
She's got me saying sugar pie, honey, darling, and dear. I ain't seen the Braves play a game all year. I'm
In 1996, McGraw headlined the most successful country tour of the year, the Spontaneous Combustion Tour, with Faith Hill as his supporting act. Hill broke off her engagement to her former producer, Scott Hendricks, so that she and McGraw could start dating each other.
Well, Spontaneous Combustion was actually the perfect name for the tour, because that is exactly what happened between Tim and Faith. They fell almost immediately in love. Now, it was difficult because Faith was actually engaged to a guy called Scott Hendricks at the time. She was not single, but their attraction was, I suppose, impossible to resist. That same year, they actually were married. It's funny because, Tim has told the story many times of how he proposed. He got down on one knee in his trailer at the concert venue, and she said to him, I can't believe you're proposing to me in this country trailer. And he said, well, we're country music artists, what do you expect? He went out she didn't answer right away. He went out on stage and she wrote in lipstick, yes, on the mirror for when he came back. It's a very sweet story. They got married very soon afterwards, and the next year their first of 3 daughters was born.
Audrey Faith McGraw, born September 21, 1967, is known professionally as Faith Hill. She is one of the most successful country music artists of all time, having sold more than 40 million albums worldwide. Hill's first 2 albums, Take Me As I Am in 1993 and It Matters to Me in 1995, were major successes and placed a combined 3 number ones on Billboard's country charts. She then achieved mainstream and crossover success with her next 2 albums, Faith in 1998 and Breathe in 1999. The album Faith spawned her first international success in early 1998 with the song Kiss, while Breathe became one of the best-selling country albums of all time, having massive sales worldwide and earned Hill 3 Grammy Awards.
It's the way you love me. It's a feeling like this. It's centrifugal motion. It's perpetual bliss. It's that pivotal moment. It's impossible. This kiss. Unstoppable. This kiss.
This kiss was definitely the song of my career. It has changed my career in a way that maybe we weren't anticipating for a few years to come. It has been the biggest song of my career. It's crossed over. It's been the biggest, the favorite from all of my fans. So it's just, I guess everyone has a career song, and so far, that has definitely been my career song.
But despite all of this success, Faith Hill came from humble beginnings. Born in Ridgeland, Mississippi, Hill was adopted as an infant and named Audrey Faith Perry. She was raised in the nearby town of Star, 20 miles southeast of Jackson. Her adoptive parents, Edna and Ted Perry, raised her with their 2 biological sons in a devout Christian environment. Hill's vocal talent was apparent early, and she had her first public performance at a 4-H luncheon when she was 7. In 1976, a few days before her 9th birthday, she attended a concert by Elvis Presley at the State Fair Coliseum in Jackson, which impressed her deeply. Hill was a regular performer at area churches, even those not in her own Baptist denomination. At 17, Hill formed a band that played at local rodeos. She graduated from McLaurin Attendance Center in 1986 and briefly attended college in Raymond, Mississippi. At times, she sang for prisoners at the Hinds County Jail, her song of choice being Amazing Grace. At age 19, she quit school to move to Nashville and pursue her dream of being a country singer. In her early days in Nashville, Hill auditioned to be a backup singer for Reba McEntire, but failed to secure the job. A few years later, in 1991, the singer who beat out Hill for the job was killed in a plane crash with 6 other members of Reba's band. In 1988, she married music publishing executive Danielle Hill. A co-worker heard Hill singing to herself one day, and soon the head of her music publishing company was encouraging her to become a demo singer for the firm. She supplemented this work by singing backup vocals for songwriter Gary Burr, who often performed his new songs at Nashville's Bluebird Cafe. During one of those performances, Martha Sharp, an executive from Warner Brothers Records, was in the audience and, impressed with Hill's voice, began the process of signing her to a recording contract. Shortly after the release of her album, she and Danielle Hill divorced in 1994. Faith Hill's debut album was Take Me As I Am, released in 1993. Sales were strong, helped by the chart success of Wild One, the album's debut single.
They said change your clothes, she said no I won't. They said comb your hair, she said some kids don't. And her parents' dreams went up in smoke. They said you can't leave, she said yes I will. They said don't see him, she said his name is Bill. She's on a roll and it's all up.
Hill became the first female country singer in 30 years to hold Billboard's #1 position for 4 consecutive weeks, when Wild One maintained this chart position in 1994. Her version of Piece of My Heart also went to the top of the country charts in 1994. The album sold a total of 3 million copies. Her second album, It Matters to Me, finally appeared in 1995 and was another success, with the title track becoming her third #1 country single. Several other top 10 singles followed, and more than 3 million copies of the album were sold. In spring 1996, Faith Hill began the Spontaneous Combustion tour with Tim McGraw. At that time, she had recently become engaged to her former producer, Scott Hendricks, and McGraw had recently broken an engagement. McGraw and Hill were quickly attracted to each other and began a relationship.
I'm in love with this man, and I will love him all of my life. And I mean, I wake up and thank God that I was blessed enough to find this kind of love. And people look for it all the time, and it's the most important thing, and it means everything.
What she said, absolutely. I mean, look at her. No, you know what? She's a wonderful, wonderful person, and every time I see her with...
Don't you start. We've been balling all night here.
Every time I see her with my little girls, it's nothing better. Well, I think everything that happens in your life, it's into your music in one way or another. It doesn't have to reflect your life, but it certainly, your life affects your music. So, yeah, I mean, you can't not think about it. In the emotions that you portray in your songs, I guess. I mean, you might sing a song a little bit differently because it has a little bit different meaning after something like that happens. Just like everything, you know, you pick up your paper out of your front yard, meet something different.
Tim McGraw and Faith Hill married on October 6, 1996. The couple have since had 3 daughters: Grace Catherine, born May 1997, Maggie Elizabeth, born August 1998, and Audrey Caroline, born December 2001.
All of this can come and go, and your career can come and go, but, you know, to raise those little kids and see them grow up and make beautiful people, there's nothing better than that.
Since their marriage, Hill and McGraw have endeavored never to be apart for more than 3 consecutive days. After the release of her album, It Matters to Me, Faith Hill took a 3-year break from recording to give herself a rest from 4 years of touring and to begin a family with McGraw.
It's just 14 years, I think, that I've been on the road playing music, so I think a little time off is good. But I'll be out there and working and making records and playing shows, so I'm not going to disappear, and neither is she.
During her break, the couple joined forces for their first duet, It's Your Love. The song stayed at #1 for 6 weeks and won awards from both the Academy of Country Music and the Country Music Association.
It's your love, it just does something to me. It sends a shock right through me. I can't get enough. And if you wonder about the spell I'm under, oh, it's your love.
Hill has remarked that sometimes when they perform the song together, it doesn't feel like anybody else was really watching. The song was featured on Tim McGraw's 1997 album, Everywhere. The album topped the country charts and reached #2 on the album charts, selling 4 million copies.
I think it's overwhelming tonight. I feel that we've always had really strong industry support, but for the last couple of years, it seems we've both kind of been a little bit of rebels, you know, especially Tim. He was a little bit more of a rebel than me, but even I felt that way. And for the last couple of years, it just seems that the industry has really embraced our work, and it feels really good. It feels, because it's the hardest to, when you want to please everybody, and there's no way you can, but especially your peers. I mean, it's great when people that we are fans of come up to us and say, love what you're doing, saw your show, loved it, listened to your record, bought your record. I mean, that's about the biggest compliment that you can get. So it's overwhelming, the support that we have.
Absolutely.
The Country Music Association awarded Everywhere its Album of the Year for 1997.
You know, it's been, we've worked hard. You know, we've tried to find good songs. I've got a great team, Byron Gallimore and James Stroud in the studio with me, that never let me lay down on a song. They always make me perform and always make me work. And Mark Hurt, you know, Scott Simon, everybody over at my management company, they've always made me work and never let me quit on the job. And my wife, she's always told me that I could do it and made me do it. And it's just been a lot of support.
At the 40th Grammy Awards, It's Your Love received 2 Grammy Award nominations for Best Country Collaboration with Vocals and Best Country Song.
I never thought I would win Female Vocalist Award. I'm an entertainer, probably more than a vocalist, and I was just blown away. I was really surprised. So.
I don't agree with that, by the way.
Faith Hill re-entered the music business in 1998 with her 3rd album, Faith. The album showcased her progression toward a more mainstream, pop-oriented sound. Although it retained a district country sound, The Kiss became a #1 country hit and was the first of her singles to place on the pop charts, peaking at number 7. More than 6 million copies of the album were sold. The album also delivered several other hits, including another duet with McGraw, Just to Hear You Say That You Love Me, Let Me Let Go, and The Secret of Life. The couple were experiencing solo and joint success, all while maintaining a happy marriage and family life.
You know, it means a lot. You know, we live together, so we get to look at them every day at the same place. So.
Well, that's one, I think, the Female Vocalist Award, Male Vocalist Award, Entertainer of the Year. As children, watching the award shows, I would, and I know that Tim would agree with me, those are the 3 awards, me for female, him for male, obviously, that you wanted so badly. You saw yourself giving the acceptance speech and praying and wishing and hoping someday that you would get that award, the Female Vocalist, Male Vocalist, or Entertainer of the Year. So those are the ones you really strive for.
A Place in the Sun continued McGraw's streak in 1999, debuting atop the U.S. country and pop album charts and selling 3 million copies. 251,000 copies were sold in the first week, making it his first #1 opener on the Billboard 200. It featured another 4 chart-topping single on the country charts, including Please Remember Me. The couple gained another Grammy win with their duet Let's Make Love from Hill's 1999 album Breathe. The duet won the Grammy for Best Country Vocal Collaboration in 2000.
Let's make love all night long until all our strength is gone. And hold on tight, just let go. I wanna feel you in my soul.
Being in this business for as long as I have, I really think I'm just now starting to get a sense of what it is that I do and how I do it, you know, and getting, you know, I feel free artistically. I feel like there's a whole new chapter that I'm starting to uncover in my career and the things that I do and the records that I make. I just really feel like that I'm just getting my feet under me.
In 2000, McGraw released his greatest hits album, which topped the charts for 9 weeks and sold almost 6 million copies, making it one of the biggest selling albums in the modern country market. In the latter half of the year, he and Hill went out on the Soul to Soul tour, playing to sellout crowds in 65 venues, including Madison Square Garden. It was one of the top tours of any genre in the U.S. and the leading country tour during 2000. The Soul to Soul 2000 tour was the first concert tour by country singers and husband and wife, Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. The concert tour began in Atlanta in July 2000 and ended in December in Orlando. The opening night at the Phillips Arena in Atlanta was sold out, but so many fans were looking to get in that the local promoter opened up a section behind the stage and let the fans in. The tour show featured an opening set by Hill, then a set by McGraw, followed by some songs performed jointly. The tour reflected the successful marriage of the two artists, their very different styles, and the dual directions country music was going in at the time. The tour grossed nearly $50 million and was witnessed by almost 950,000 people. 60 of the 65 reported shows were sold out. It was the 5th highest grossing tour of any genre in America and the leading country music tour during 2000.
I mean, been singing all my life, so I love performing. And Tim is a master. He's one of the greatest performers in the business, any genre of music. So every time I'm on stage with him, I learn something. We're very different performers. I'm like, not fly by the seat of my pants. Obviously, I'm prepared. But if I feel like I want to change up something, I just turn to the band and go, hey, let's play this. And I spend most of my time back with the band. And I have to be reminded, there's an audience out there. I just like to jam, I just have fun.
2000 was an especially busy year for Hill. Besides a successful tour with her husband, she was featured in a CBS television special, VH1's Behind the Music, VH1 Divas 2000, and the Lifetime Cable Channel's Intimate Portrait series. She signed an endorsement deal with CoverGirl Makeup, performed at the Academy Awards and the Grammy Awards, appeared on the cover of numerous magazines, and performed the national anthem at Super Bowl 34. Hill was also named to Mr. Blackwell's 10 Best Dressed Women of 2000, the only singer listed among actresses and other celebrities.
Well, I think style is important, and I think fashion is definitely extremely important. I mean, I took great lengths to choose this dress to wear tonight for this important event, so I think one could not go forward without the other. I think music inspires fashion and vice versa. Thank you. Thank you.
In 2001, Hill recorded a song for the Pearl Harbor soundtrack. The track, also titled There You'll Be, which was originally offered to Celine Dion, has since become one of Hill's most critically acclaimed songs.
When I look back on these days, I look and see your face. You were right there for me. In my dreams, I'll always see you soar above the sky. In my heart, there'll always be.
Being an established country music star, Tim wanted to try his hand at acting. In 2004, McGraw played a sheriff in Rick Schroeder's independent release, Black Cloud. Later in the same year, McGraw received critical acclaim as the overbearing father of a running back in the major studio Texas high school football drama, Friday Night Lights.
There's always scripts and stuff that come my way, and it's typically timing. It's either shooting at a time where I'm in the middle of a tour or in the middle of an album, or maybe it's not the right material, and or maybe I'm not the guy that they want. So all these factors have to come together in order for me to be able to do something. And but first and foremost, it's got to be driven by the material. I mean, it's just the same way as putting an album together. Whether I'm writing the material or listening to the outside material from other songwriters, the material has to be there. I mean, if you if you let the material slip just a bit, it's not going to work out. The material has to be there. I mean, look, there's plenty of great actors. There's plenty of great singers. But there's not that many great songs and there's not that many great scripts. So finding the right project is really key. And for me and Faith as well, because of our other lives, and we have 3 kids, and they're grown now, but we're still very involved in their lives, and we're parents first. So finding the time and finding the material and putting all those pieces together is really kind of an art in itself. So all those things have to work for us.
McGraw's first lead role in a film was in the 2006 film Flicka, which was released in theaters on October 20th, 2006. The family-friendly movie debuted in the top 10 list and has grossed over $25 million at the box office. McGraw again achieved critical acclaim for his acting.
Anytime a musician does a movie, everybody always gives you sort of a sideways glance, you know, like, they're not going to be able to pull it off. Or if you do, you have to be almost better than you would have had to been if you were just an actor. You almost have to be a little bit better even to prove it.
Shortly before Flicka opened, McGraw received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. One of his Flicka co-stars, Alison Lohman, attended the ceremony that included comments from Billy Bob Thornton, McGraw's co-star in the film Friday Night Lights.
Thank you. First off, I want to thank Mr. Grant and the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce for this. I appreciate it. Thank all you guys for showing up today. This is kind of unexpected, this many people to be here. It's been a great ride for me for a long time. This summer will make 18 years that I've been on the road playing music, making my living. And I want to acknowledge my band and crew, the Dance Hall Doctors, Disciples of Light and Sound. We've been together for a long time, and it's my bass player has been with me for about 17 years now. I had a birthday today, and I'm going to tell you how old he is. Happy birthday, John. And so happy that my friends and family could be here for this special day for me. You know, this is something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy being a part of the music industry, making music, making people happy, trying to do the best I can to improve and get better. And I just appreciate you guys hanging with me and staying with me for all these years, and I feel like I got more years to go. So thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it.
In April 2006, McGraw and Hill began their Soul to Soul 2 tour, again to strong commercial acceptance. The tour grossed nearly $89 million and sold almost 1.1 million tickets, making it the top-grossing tour in country music history. It was named Major Tour of the Year by the prestigious Pollster magazine, beating out such heavyweights as Madonna and the Rolling Stones. In a special gesture, the couple donated all the profits from their performance in New Orleans to Hurricane Katrina relief. In 2008, the couple put on a loved-up display, singing a duet of their song I Need You at the CMT Awards.
Oh, I need you. I need you, I need you, I need you, I need you.
Oh, I need you, I need you, I need you, I need you, baby. I need you too.
With several more albums released between the pair, their love has shown to stand strong regardless of their hectic work schedules. They also continue to support each other in all aspects of life, with McGraw crediting Faith Hill helping him to maintain his sobriety after he quit drinking in 2007. They have raised 3 children who all went off to college, leaving them wondering about their role as parents of teenage children. On October 4th, 2016, during a surprise show at Nashville's famous Ryman Auditorium, both Faith and her husband announced that they would once again be going back on the road together. The tour began April 7, 2017 in New Orleans and continued into Europe throughout 2018, including as part of the C2C Country to Country Festival. It was reported on February 3, 2017 that Hill, alongside McGraw, had signed a new deal with Sony Music Nashville, also indicating that a duet album between the couple, as well as multiple solo recordings, would be produced. The new record label signing also preceded the release of Speak to a Girl, the lead single from Hill and McGraw's joint album, The Rest of Our Life.
We really haven't recorded a lot of songs together, just a handful, and we try to only record songs that we think are special to us. And this was one of those songs. This was a song that when I heard it, I knew instantly I wanted to record it. Within the first 4 bars of hearing the lyric, I knew I wanted to record the song. It was just, we just thought it was a really special song. And anytime I can sing with her, she raises the bar. I mean, to me, I know I'm biased, but I'm also an artist, so I can look at it from an artist's point of view. I think she's one of the finest singers there are in the world. I think she's just a real soul singer. And to get a chance to sing with her is pretty special, I think, for any artist, but for me especially. Especially because, you know, I look at myself as sort of like a NASCAR, and, you know, she's more of a Formula One racer, so to keep up with her is pretty tough.
That's how you talk to a woman. That's how you speak to a girl. That's how you get with a lady who's worth more than anything in your whole world. You better respect your mama. Respect the hell out of her. 'Cause that's how you talk.
The release of the album coincided with the opening of an exhibit at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum titled Mississippi Woman, Louisiana Man, which celebrates the careers of both Hill and McGraw. In February 2020, Tim McGraw rejoined Big Machine Records, which he previously signed to from 2011 to 2017. He released a new album, Here on Earth, on August 21st, 2020. However, the Here on Earth tour was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
That's one of the cool things about being in this business and being in it for so long and having so many friends. I've known Kid Rock for, gosh, probably almost my whole career, you know, for at least 15 years. I like being able to experiment musically and grow as an artist. I think if I stop doing that, if I stop growing and stop experimenting and stop stretching my boundaries, then I probably shouldn't do it anymore. I mean, I don't want to ever be an artist that just sort of does the same thing over and over again. I don't think that would make me comfortable at all. These are my songs. These are what I feel like is the best music that I have, the best stuff that I have in my heart is what I want to do. It's not what I think. I don't go in necessarily thinking this is what I want radio to hear or what I think radio wants, and put it that way. This isn't necessarily what I think the label wants. This isn't necessarily what I think my fans want. This is what I want to do.
In August 2021, it was announced that Tim McGraw and Faith Hill would both co-star in Paramount Plus's Yellowstone prequel titled 1883.
1883 is actually the prequel to Yellowstone. So it essentially, Tim, who is my husband in real life, plays James Dutton. I play Margaret. We are the original Dutton family that we began our journey in Tennessee. And we were headed to Oregon. However, we ended up in Montana for reasons you will find out.
You James Dutton?
Yes, sir.
Mind if we speak?
Whatever you're selling, I ain't buying.
Daddy!
My family's meeting me here tonight, and we're heading north. And we'll keep heading north till I find country's worth the journey.
I admire your courage, but you're gonna pick a fight you can't win before long.
What's that for?
Not sure. But I'd sure hate you don't have it when we find out.
We're really proud of it. I mean, there was a lot of work. I mean, I think 400 cast and crew on this thing, and we were doing 6 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day, and it was out in the elements, and it was physical every single day. but it was so well written. I mean, Taylor Sheridan is such a brilliant writer, and that's honestly what drew Faith and I to want to do this together. We never acted together, so to pick a project to do together for the very first time, it had to be something really special, and it blew us away. Reading the scripts blew us away, and you saw 3.5 episodes, and it just gets better and better and better and better.
It was nice to do it together just because we had the support of one another, and just to be able to do something like this together. My God, what a gift! However, we did not. For me, it was important. I said, look, we can't run lines together. We've been married for 26 years, and we're always together, which is a great thing. But there had to be. For it to be authentic and surprised, and I didn't want to run the lines. I didn't want to talk about our scenes together. So when we hit the set and they said action, that's when I met James Dutton. Now I would watch him do, other scenes as he would watch me do with other actors. But in terms of us together, we never, ever worked on the show until we were in front of the camera. And that was vitally important. Just because we know one another so well. I loved being Margaret. I loved being somebody different than myself. She's much more interesting than I am. And
what we didn't want was for every time everybody looked at the screen, all they saw was Tim and Faith. Because of our personas and being in the music business for 30 years and the success that we've had, we knew that it was going to be we had to sort of cross that bridge and sort of jump the Rubicon there in order for people not to see Tim and Faith. And so part of our plan in doing that was we never rehearsed our lines together. We never went over scenes together. And in fact, the first time that James and Margaret actually met in costume, we were rolling cameras.
It's something. And we sat there and after finishing it and just said, how lucky are we and how grateful are we to have this opportunity, to be honest with you, at this time in our life. We've been in this career for a long time. We've had an amazing career, both of us. But to have something like this so strong and powerful and poetic, and we're in. We are going to fight to make sure that we don't let anybody down.
As of 2022, Faith Hill has won 5 Grammy Awards, 15 Academy of Country Music Awards, 6 American Music Awards, and several other awards. Her Soul to Soul 2 Tour 2006 with Tim McGraw became the highest grossing country tour of all time. Tim McGraw has won 3 Grammy Awards, 14 Academy of Country Music Awards, 11 Country Music Association Awards, 10 American Music Awards, and 3 People's Choice Awards. He has sold more than 80 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling music artists of all time. There are few musical couples that have stood the test of time like Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. The couple claim they knew they instantly had chemistry upon their first conversation and have maintained a healthy working and family life for over 25 years.
Saying thank God for country music, because without country music and my career in country music and my growing up listening to country music, none of this would have happened.